Hello folks, it's Typhoon Carter here, and today I bring to you another DPP SPL match. This is between Void and Ladybug. Both these battlers are longtime veterans of the game, and both are known commodities in Generation 4 overuse. Void is coming off an undefeated campaign from last SPL where he basically went 9-0. And he was retained by the Wolfpack this season for 10k. As for Ladybug, Ladybug is a longtime veteran who has actually been away from the game for a while and hasn't played in an SPL in almost a decade at this point. So it's been a long time, but most of the people that were around for Ladybug best remembers Ladybug for that one incident where Ladybug gave a win to Philip 7086 after they haxed him in a World Cup match. But that is almost a decade at this point, and we're just gonna let bygones be bygones. And I'm looking forward to seeing how Ladybug fares in their debut match after a multi-year hiatus. As for Void, I look forward to seeing how he follows up his undefeated campaign. And let's just jump right into this. Ladybug leading with Starmie, Void leading Hippowdon. This is looking like a stall team from Void. Brings out the Latias as the Starmie switch in. Ladybug bringing the Starmie on lead is almost always choice specs. The question usually becomes, is the Starmie like Bolt Beam coverage on its additional moves, or is it something like Psychic Trick with Rapid Spin? But Starmie could be a big threat here, and if Void does have a Clefable in the back, then Void can't really bring that in safely because Hydro Pump will do a lot. Anyways, let's just keep moving right along. Brings out the T-Tar, and Latias Toxic's here. Toxic is not too common. I'm assuming Void replaced Toxic over T-Wave because defensive Latias normally wants Thunder Wave, but the Reflects up, and that Latias is dangerously low, and I'm not sure if Ladybug's going to give Void another chance to recover. So Void's going to need to look for those windows to try and get the recover off. Unfortunately, that's definitely not one way to go about it. So Void brings out the Gliscor. The Reflect Up mitigates the Seed Bomb damage. And Breloom is normally a big threat to stall teams in DPP. Mostly because like stall teams don't have a great sleep absorber in general. And then now Void bringing in the Clefable against the T-Tar. Bit of a weird spot for Void. Void is off to a rough start, to say the least. Because like at this stage of the game, both these battlers, like Ladybug's just putting the pressure on Void. Void's Latias already extremely low on health. Clefable took like 71% from Pursuit, and that looked like choice band damage, to be honest. And Void brings in the Jirachi. This is probably Wish Protect, which is normally a staple on these stall teams. And okay, yeah, opts to just bring the Hippowdon in to receive the Wish. Probably afraid of a Fire Blast, because if Ladybug Fire Blasts on, say, the Clefable, then Void just lost the Clefable for nothing. However, that Will-O-Wisp there is actually huge, because of the fact that Heatran normally does not run Will-O-Wisp in DPP, or at least it's not very frequent. The most popular Heatran sets are usually like Shuka with Fire Blast, Earthquake, Stealth Rock, and Explosion. So there's that. So Ladybug getting that Pursuit off, really paying dividends, and the Hippowdon just barely hanging on for dear life again, with that Fire Blast. But like the Hippowdon being Will-O-Wisp there, yeah, so this is pretty rough right now. Superpower gets a lot of chip damage out of that against the Jirachi, and Ladybug's just putting the pressure on. making a lot of these aggressive doubles, and brings the Magneton in, presumably to get the Thunder Wave off, and just as I say that, it does exactly that. And switches out, and just paralyzed, so can't do nothing there. Hippowdon coming in, knowing it can take a Fire Blast or not. Unfortunate critical hit there for Void, but Ladybug now very clearly in the driver's seat and sacks the T-Tar, because Stealth Rocks will basically ensure the Latias stays dead. And the Latias goes down, and this means that Breloom can use Spore again, but the Jira being paralyzed helps matters a little bit. Magneton there threatening a T-Bolt, and Ladybug makes the double there. And again, Fire Blast was pretty free. The Clefable goes down, and Ladybug has just dismantled Void so far. Mostly just keeping up the pressure in general, and the Magnetons both trading, and that looks to be HP Fire, which it might be, assuming it lost its speed tie. Again, like, Void's Jirachi wishes, but like, all Ladybug has to do at this stage in the game is to just simply get chip damage in, just try to like fish for full paras, like Starmie, and Breloom should be able to clean house here. The Celebi set, I'm actually not too sure what it is on Ladybug's side. Maybe it's some kind of offensive Celebi based on the structure here. It could be, because Celebi has seen like a bit of a rise in usage during 2024, because it was by far the best Breloom answer that you could ask for realistically, because it can just shrug off most of Breloom's attacks with ease, and then it can choose to switch out. It can afford to stay in and burn sleep turns to try and wake itself up. But so that's kind of the deal with Celebi. And like, yeah, you got a pretty prolonged sequence here. Again, Void could get out of this by getting some chipped. Oh, okay, that's a huge critical hit there from Ladybug, because now that just makes things even more awkward for the Jirachi. Instead of being at 100%, and Jira has to protect there to scout the trick out, and Ladybug can either commit to a trick or just switch out just as I say that. And Celebi here, the Gliscor probably won't do a lot, assuming it has Recover. And Fire Fang from Gliscor. Normally from Gliscor you would see, I would say Ice Fang, maybe even Thunder Fang, but I guess Fire Fang could make sense on this team, because the team is pretty vulnerable to Bug Bite SD Scizor specifically, so I kind of get the idea behind Fire Fang Glisk. And then Celebi showing Hin Power Ice and Earth Power. And at this point, looks like Ladybug's got the game wrapped up for the most part. Like, Ladybug doesn't have to predict too much. And Earth Power just barely doesn't kill. And Jira goes down. And this should be game set match for Ladybug. And yeah, there's the Hin Power Ice. Good game for both these players. Void already has more losses this season than he ever did all of last season. As for Ladybug, this is a pretty good comeback match to be returning to after taking a long hiatus from SPL in general. A couple takeaways from the game. For one, Ladybug early on was just able to keep the pressure up on Void. Void really didn't have too much breathing room. The other thing was that Void very early on, when Ladybug's T-Tar crunched onto Latias just as it reflected, that was a bit of a 50-50 because of the fact that Latias could have also gotten pursued it, so Void unfortunately got that turn wrong, and then Ladybug was just able to capitalize on the normally hard to kill Latias by just never really giving it a chance to recover at all. The other thing I would say is that I'm not really sure if it was ideal for Void to sleep sack the Latias, to be honest. Other thing I would probably look at also is that Ladybug's Heatran being able to get the Will-O-Wisp off on the Hippowdon instead of Void getting the Clefable was also huge, because of the fact that Clefable was already at like what 29% health, so it can't really take a Fire Blast, and then Hippowdon doesn't really see a reason to stay in, so Ladybug was able to make use of a uncommon move on Heatran to give themselves a huge advantage. But really, I'd say the key piece for Ladybug's team that really got them through the day was T-Tar. Like, just those early turns, even with the Toxic Timer, just making the most out of those. Really well played again. And once again, if you guys like this video, like, comment, subscribe, and hopefully I will be back with more of these. And I will see you guys next time.